Up next on the debut review, we're going to be looking at Shield. This is an Irish whiskey barrel-aged Imperial oatmeal stout with coffee, and it comes in at an impressive 14% ABV. Check it out. Hi, it's Rich, and welcome to the debut review. Today we're going to be looking at a beer called Shield. This is an Irish whiskey barrel-aged Imperial oatmeal stout with coffee. Now, it says that it is aged in barrels from the Crolly Distillery, which I'm sure I'm butchering. I apologize. And it is by Gill Barrel Aged Series. And this says that it is Gill water, malted barley, oats, hops, yeast, and coffee. And then it says that it is aged in not bourbon barrels, sorry, Force of Habit Irish whiskey barrels. So I'm sort of interested to try this because I've actually become a rather large fan of the Irish whiskeys over the last year or so. And I thought it would be appropriate to actually bring one in for this. Now, I do not have the barrels that they're talking about at all. So I figured I would pick the most, I guess, universal Irish whiskey that I have, which is Redbreast's Redbreast 12. I am going to be doing some whiskey reviews on the channel, so there will be a full review of Redbreast 12 eventually. This is a single pot still Irish whiskey. It's aged 12 years and it is 80 proof. So a pretty, good but average Irish whiskey. Now, if you look, lighter in color than bourbon is. And that is because it is being aged in, X barrels from bourbon and stuff like that, but not new charred barrels. These are barrels that have been used before. And I go into more detail in the Redbreast review, which is coming up. Let's give the nose just a try. I get a lot of green apple, that nice sort of spiciness from the pot still. Little bit of vanilla. So this is a really, really lovely whiskey. And again, not so super high in the ABV at 80 proof. But, a lot of vanilla, a lot of that sort of, green apple-y sort of, it's almost like toffee apple, if you will. I heard one reviewer describe this as sort of like Christmas in a glass, and I sort of agree. There is a nice sort of holiday spiciness to this. Now again, 80 proof, and what I normally like to do with my whiskey is I like to sit it on its side like this for 5 or 10 minutes and let it sort of aerate a bit and let some of the ethanol just leave it. And while we do that, I'm going to take out my Guinness Stout glass because that is the one that gives you all the best view. Crack this one open, and wow, that was a robust opening. Give it a pour. Oh, this is pouring just jet black. And I'll tell you right now, the bar has a very nice coffee aroma to it. Now, for me, pitch black, nice little finger and a half of head, even with how heavy I poured it. The bar has a nice coffee aroma to it right now, mixed, unfortunately, with the aroma of the Redbreast. So I'm just going to put this away so it's not influencing the nose at all and let it age just a bit more. Not age, aerate. Okay, so you get the roasted malt right off the bat, along with a nice sort of chocolatey, not chocolatey, I'm sorry, sort of it's not chocolate. What is it? It's sort of, it's a roastiness. There's some coffee in there, and sort of a burnt sugar sweetness, maybe sort of that toffee. So I'm definitely getting the whiskey aromas coming off of this. Now, for me, and again, this is a personal preference, when I look at an Imperial Stout at 14%, I also judge it by how well it sort of condenses that alcohol, and that's not the dominant flavor. So like if I drink this right now and it turns out to be just, ethanol, I'm going to be really upset by that. What I would like to get is that coffee, that roast, a little of that sort of like toffee sort of flavor that I'm smelling in the nose. Now, to be honest, I'm not getting the ethanol on the nose. All right, let's give it a taste. Oh, that's nice. And really, really complex and different than I expected from the nose. Okay, no alcohol burn whatsoever. 14%, these people are clearly masters of their craft and you're not getting burned out by the alcohol. Oh, good. Okay, so let's start at the, oh, let me have another sip because this is really good. Okay, definitely getting the coffee roastiness there. It's there. You can taste that good sort of roasted malt flavor to it. It tastes like a darker type of coffee, which I don't know what they're using actually for coffee in this. I'm sure it says it on the can and we'll examine that in a minute. But to me, it tastes like sort of a darker, stronger roast. Then, next step on this is that sort of sweetness of the whiskey towards the back of the tongue. And again, I'm losing the green apple that I normally get in an Irish whiskey, but what's doubling up on this is sort of that, you know, that sweet sort of like toffee, sort of vanilla-y type of flavor. There's more of that. But what's really surprising is on the back of the tongue, there's just a large amount of the wood flavor from the barrel. In fact, there's a charred smokiness to this that's really, really nice. This I would classify as one of those dangerous beers. You would not know that this was 14%. Man, you could, I mean, I'm starting to get just a hint of a burn in my stomach, but that burn could also be coming from the redbreast. Let's see what information the can gives us. So this is Lough Gill Barrel Aged Series 2023. So I wonder when this was canned. And actually, I do not see a date. So I don't know if this was brewed in 2023. Maybe it was, but I mean, a stout of this alcohol level is not going to, you know, go bad. So let's see. Aged in whiskey barrels from Crolly, which I'm probably saying wrong, and infused with coffee from the Good Bean. And this is, what is it? Brewed, packaged, and aged by Lough Gill Brewing Company in County Sligo, Ireland. It's very difficult to read. That's really the problem I'm having with it. It's small even with my glasses on it. That being said, this is a really, really nice beer. I am starting to get the alcohol burn at this point. There are those good coffee notes. After the coffee notes, there's that sweetness. And on the back end, there's this just beautiful smoky finish with just a hint of bitterness all the way on the back of the tongue. This is just a pleasure to drink, and you can definitely get the Irish whiskey influence on this, because actually I'm sort of surprised, and now I want to try this particular brand of Irish whiskey because there's more smoke in this, more of that oakiness than I would have expected. In fact, if anything, I would have bet money that this was just a bourbon aged stout in relatively, new bourbon aged barrels, which normally the bourbon aged stouts have these really, really bold flavors. And I always look at the Irish whiskeys as having a more muted flavor as compared to a bourbon. This has so much flavor to it. It's such a beautiful little beer to drink. And not one part of it can really be held as being like, missing. You get the coffee, you get the roastiness, you get the whiskey influence of it, you get that smokiness from the barrel, which is really nice. I have to tell you, this is an excellent beer. Now, where did I get this? I think I got this at Total Wine, and I am pretty sure I spent $4.99 for this can, which, you know, as a 12-ounce can, that's not a tremendous amount of money, especially considering what had to go into actually making this beer between the brewing and the aging and everything like that. So I'm really liking this. Now, this is a wonderful winter beer. Like, I could go outside right now, sit by the fire pit, and just slowly sip this beer. And it would be a really enjoyable thing. So, you know, as close to a rating system as I can give, would I buy this again? Absolutely. If I saw this on tap, I would jump on it in a heartbeat. Once again, this is called, and the can art is the shield that, you know, it's named after. This is Shield Irish Whiskey Barrel Aged Imperial Oatmeal Stout with coffee. And I gotta tell you, if you see it out there in the wild, buy it. You know, especially at $4 or $5 a can, this is a bargain. This is the one drink you're gonna have all night long, and it's really, really going to be enjoyable. Now, it has been a few minutes, so let's reach off camera and grab the Redbreast. And now that the alcohol has had some time to sort of dissipate, not as much as I'd like, but some. Yeah, it's green apple. It's sort of that sweet, vanilla toffee type of, for some reason, when I say toffee, it's almost like a vanilla fudge type of flavor. There's a place in Jersey, what is it? The Country Fudge Kitchen or something like that. And they make this beautiful vanilla fudge with no nuts, mind you. And I'm getting hints of that. But yeah, that green apple's there. That sort of vanilla fudge toffee type of aroma. A nice sweetness to it. And quite honestly, I find that when you leave the whiskey on its side like that for about 10 minutes, you wind up getting a lot more out of the nose and a lot more out of the flavor. Yeah, that is smooth. And to be honest, as far as the wood influences on the Redbreast, I feel like there's much more smoke, much more of a wood influence on this beer than it is on this particular bottle of Redbreast. Now, that being said, I still think the Redbreast 12 is outstanding. You know, but I would really like to try the whiskey that, you know, this particular beer was, the barrels that this particular beer was aged in. I would like to try that whiskey because I do think it would be interesting to have an Irish whiskey with a little bit more smoke in it. You know, that being said, I can recommend both of them, but since this is our beer review, I would have to say that Shield is definitely one of the beers I would pick up if I saw it in the wild. Anyway, folks, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the rest of this on this rather chilly Friday night. And I will see you next time. If you enjoyed the review, please hit that like button, subscribe. Love to hear any comments. If you've had any other Irish whiskey aged stouts, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. And I'll see you next time on End of the Day Beer Review. Cheers.